Why is it so hard to face your finances? You feel paralyzed when you open up your bank account, can't pay bills on time, or your budgets just throw you off completely. If you feel this, you're not alone. 54% of people in the UK feel stressed about money. And in this video, I'm going to address the reasons why that are deeper than just the physical reasons around us, but why we're not doing this, the emotional reasons, and give you some tools such as journaling prompts, exercises, and ideas on how you can shift out of this and rewrite your money story once and for all. We know we should all be staying on top of our finances, but this can be overwhelming for many, where the bills stack up, opening up all the bank accounts, staying on top of your budget every month. You're not alone. It can feel impossible, and your bank account can feel like a black hole. And there's a deeper reason to this. It's the emotional beliefs and patterns that we hold behind it that are stopping us from really progressing in that. And in this video, we're going to explore these and as well look at deeper layers of how we can transform this into a new relationship with money. It's not just about the habits, it's about the deeper emotional reasons, the beliefs, the patterns that are holding us back from really dealing with our finances in a concrete and healthy way. The first thing is shifting from fear to neutrality. You might have grown up and heard words such as money doesn't grow on trees, or your dad might have lost his job and you might have been in financial difficulties, or money is hard to come by, you have to work hard for money, and all of this is ingrained in the young child. When we have fear, our amygdala is triggered, and this triggers all the trauma responses: fight, flight, freeze, fawning. We go into a mode where we can't deal with things. The same mechanisms that protected us in the past are triggered by the fear that we have around money. So I want you to realize that sometimes when you're freezing or procrastinating or trying to run away from your finances, this is not because you're not in a good habit or because you haven't got the right tools. It's because there's something deeper inside of you going on. And continuously avoiding your finances re-triggers this fear and puts us into a negative spiral loop, because it keeps making us think that our finances are scary. And so we need to find a mindset shift around this. And the first thing I'm going to suggest is to really look at your finances straight on. It is not a scary thing. Yes, I know it could feel like this in your body, but it's like we're lifting up the rug, we're looking at what's under there. We have to reframe our finances and the numbers to statistics that are giving us data about where we're at. There's no good or bad around it. It's just a number. It's numbers about our life where we can reframe and really look at how we're spending so that we can make whole new financial decisions in our lives. The protectors have been protecting us for reasons, and they're all very just. But now we want to find a way to put these aside and to start dealing with our finances in a new way. So I would say going from avoidance to curiosity. How can you be curious about the bills? How can you be curious about your finances, what you can create through them, and what you can really make happen when you start looking at bills, your bank accounts, your budget? I love to say, get inspired about your money and see what you can see through your budget. Not only patterns, but also new things that you can develop in your life. So let's start with a few prompts, a few suggestions of how you could maybe move through this blockage. And the first thing is that I invite clients to do is to close your eyes and just imagine yourself doing a budget. Imagine yourself connecting to money, to your finances. What does it feel like in your body? How does it feel when money flows in? How does it feel when money goes out? And the more we can connect to these feelings within, we can give space to these feelings so that they're not in reaction mode, but rather we can act from new spaces. We need to discover where these are playing out and what they're causing within our system that is bringing us into avoidance of our finances. The second thing is, if you're really into journaling or writing, take a piece of paper and free write about what are your biggest fears around money. What do you feel is going to happen if that fear happens? And really feel that in your body and write it out. I had a client of mine whose father entered bankruptcy when she was very young. And what she wanted to do her whole life was to avoid bankruptcy with so much fear in her system. And guess what she attracted? Was exactly the bankruptcy. And so the idea of this is to really understand what your biggest fears are, so that you don't have to live through them again, and that you can really understand what is driving you behind your actions of avoidance. On a side note, she did go through the bankruptcy, but has done so well ever since, because oftentimes these fears are just trigger points. And if they do happen, we always and often survive through them in different ways where we really elevate our story and ourselves. So I hope you don't have to go to that point, but I want to bring you there to heal the pattern and underlying beliefs that are driving you. Another big one is that I want to transform the shame in your system for you to really acknowledge what is happening there. Oftentimes, shame comes from the fact that we might have had less than others or more than others in our childhood, or that we've experienced financial loss or not dealt with our money in a great way. Of course, if you're starting to watch these videos and starting to understand more about finances, you might just feel a lot of shame about the way you've spent your money and how you've dealt with it. And that is okay. We're not here to judge it. We're not here to make any conclusions about it. And what we want to do with this is to really embrace the shame, to really hold you in this space and to say, it's okay, we're learning and we can start over at any point in time. And if you're choosing today, today is the day you can rewrite your story around it. So what I want you to do is to really hold yourself within the shame, to acknowledge that the shame is there. And then we're going to start looking at the mindset shifts we can go about when it comes to the shame. Now, one deeper point I want you to look at is that if you have done things around money that haven't been very easy for you to digest, such as some clients of mine have gotten into massively in debt, or some investments that have really put their family at risk. And what we want to look at here is rewriting this. So instead of saying, I'm bad with money, rewriting the narrative to I'm learning to be great with money. I am learning how to deal with money in new ways. I'm expanding my financial knowledge. And we're up on an upward journey here because we're all learning constantly. And what we want to do is take away the shame, the judgment, and rewrite this. Write a letter to yourself. Write a letter about what financial mistakes you've made, what shame you felt, what you've lived through around your finances that have made these emotions so hard to digest. Put them out and allow yourself to express these feelings around shame. Another wonderful journaling prompt is, what can I learn about the past financial decisions I've made that haven't necessarily been the best? How can I integrate these? And how can I move forward in new ways with my finances? Really start reflecting on this. I think you can unlock keys of knowledge to really transcend the way you deal with money. Now, if you want more resources, down below, I've got a free guide for solopreneurs to get towards financial peace of mind. Download it, have a look. I hope that this can support you on your journey to discovering more around how you're relating to money and how we can rewrite this story. Now I want to talk about shifting you from overwhelm to empowerment around your finances. This is very much, again, like cleaning up a house. If you haven't done it in a long time, it can feel overwhelming to start looking through all the rubble, all the things that you have to address. And so the first thing really is to start clearing through what is there. Step by step. Know that it's going to be a journey. Don't put pressure on yourself, but really also know that there's an end goal to this, that this is going to be a clear financial future. I know sometimes we don't understand why we have to do this, but when we understand the analogies around dirty rooms, dirty houses, I like to think of it as pipes in the building, putting the electricity and water. When this can flow freely, you can just let go of it. It's not like we have to think about how's the electricity working or the water, is it going to the right place? When we set up our finances in a great way, this is what it can look like. We can let go of overwhelm and start stepping into an empowering position around our finances where we're dictating what the money can do for us. Now, this starts with one small step. I would say choose one thing in your finances that you'd really like to do, that you've been avoiding, such as paying a bill, looking at doing your budget, writing down some numbers, and facing this will allow you to start that journey. Start with a small step. If it's 2 minutes of doing something simple, and then see how that improves your real confidence in taking that journey towards moving out of this overwhelm. If you want to maybe write this in your morning pages, think of one step I can do with my finances today that can help me to move away from the overwhelm and the way I can start writing a new financial future. Let's see what comes out for you. I'd be really excited to hear about this. If you want to drop it in your comments below to see how this is improving your financial well-being. So as a summary, there are a few journaling prompts I gave you, which I think could be really helpful. One is, what are my biggest fears around money? What is driving these fears? How can I uncover them? What have I learned from my financial mistakes or haven't dealt with money in a good way? And finally, what step can I take today to change my financial future, to take that step to transform the way I relate to money? So having said all of this, what can we do to change this? And what I want to do with you right now is to marry Kondo, your finances, to give you some tips and tricks to clean up your finances to move to that next level of financial engagement. Firstly, gather all of your financial documents, bills, receipts, anything that you have around your finances, digitalize as much as possible, organize them into folders. I have a plastic folder where I put all of my bills per month in there, and even look at getting something to really track your finances. If that's in your app where you can track your expenses, maybe a new app, for example, with You Need a Budget or Mint. There's so many out there. Nowadays, also Revolut is incredible, that helps people to stay on top of their finances in new ways. What I want you to do is start cleaning up, putting bills in the right place, and using something to start digitalizing it as a first step. I want you to organize your accounts as well. Consolidate some of them, see how many accounts you have, where your income is coming in, savings, looking at where your expenses are coming out of, but really to look at what accounts you have, how you can organize them, maybe checking what fees you're paying on each of them, and as well looking at automating as many payments as possible so you can relieve that mental charge and financial stress of paying them so they come out directly out of your account. And finally, creating new habits around money. The one I love so much is a money date. Implementing a money date with yourself, if that is weekly, every 2 weeks, monthly, staying on top of your finances through a money date is a really good way to track what is going on and updating your budgets and your expenses and your invoices regularly. We've explored in this video the hardest mindset shifts, the things that are keeping us stuck, from fears to shame to overwhelm. We've also looked at journaling prompts, mindset shifts, and now ways to physically transform how you deal with money. And I hope that some of this inspires you to take the first steps today. If this video was great, please like it. If you know anyone who could use some help around their finances and cleaning up and Marie Kondoing it, please share it. I hope that we can continue on this journey. I'm really excited to bring more women to financial empowerment. And if you're ready, you can also download the free guide I have below for solopreneurs to really get to financial peace of mind on the inner and outer, and looking at the checklist to really clean up your finances to bring them to the next level.